Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday morning in one of the panels, the renowned scholar Francis Fukuyama compared EU membership to the state of heaven, non-EU as hell, and he said that there was no purgatory, that we needed one. Well, unfortunately, one has existed for more than 2 decades, and that's the Western Balkans. 22 years after the establishment of the Stabilization and Association process, and 18 years since the Thessaloniki Agenda from 2003, only Croatia has become a member state of the European Union. Meanwhile, most of the states in our region have been in some sort of limbo, which creates dangerous vacuums that are being filled by third forces who do not necessarily have European integration and the best interests of the countries in mind. And in my opinion, the only future for Southeast Europe, for the Western Balkans, is full integration in the EU as a prerequisite for lasting peace and stability. So let me underline the key features or the key points that I see here. First of all, the EU needs to find some kind of a common language and proceed with what everybody calls enlargement, and I actually call it consolidation. Because this area, or the Western Balkans, is not the backyard of the EU, as people often call it. It's not even the front yard, it's a natural part of the European Union, and it needs to be consolidated in the European Union. And in that sense, when we talk about long-term or even medium-term future, there are two capabilities, very strong capabilities of this region. One is to do great things in a very short period of time, and the other one is to descend into turmoil very quickly. So let us not forget about that, and let us mitigate all the forces that could contribute to potential stabilization. Secondly, the vacuum that is being created by a lack of European integration needs to be filled with meaningful initiatives that are aimed at the progress of the region. The Brdo-Briuni process, which is the political process aimed at integration, and the Berlin process are simply not enough. We need more investment to provide alternatives for Russian or Chinese attempts. We've seen the case in Montenegro with the highway from nowhere to nowhere. And so viable investment, including from the United States, is one of the prerequisites to ensure for the connectivity, for the cohesion, and the competitiveness of the economies in this region. And investment today needs to be looked at not just in monetary terms of the return that you get, but as a geopolitical, geo-economic tool in order to provide for stability and the resilience of societies, economies, and countries in the region. And thirdly, last but not least, is the homework, as we call it, that the candidate countries have to do themselves, focusing not just on the past, resolving the open issues, but focusing mostly on today and tomorrow, and working towards the necessary reforms. Of course, we will all be emerging from the pandemic, dealing with economic, social, and other circumstances. But I think that an overall modernization of societies and key reforms in education, looking at the skills of the 21st century and jobs of added value, but civic education as well is of utmost importance. And the second is also the reform of the labor market, in order to reduce that ratio between those who are active in the labor market and those who are not. And in that sense, to curb the brain drain and the migration or emigration processes from Southeast Europe or from the Western Balkans. And of course, it's the duty of all of us neighbors, Croatia, Slovenia, but also Greece, Italy, and others, to assist these countries, not just by political support, but with very concrete exchange of information and knowledge that we have gained in the process that can help you avoid many of the mistakes that we have done, and ultimately do the best job that you can for the benefit of your citizens. Thank you.